I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Welcome to Andromenerds, the number one podcast on the internet that has at least two of us as a host.
Yes!
My name is Minius of Minius GC, and with me are my co-hosts, Tucker from Mass Effect Follower.
Hello, everyone.
The one and only BioFan.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And...
So this week we have a special guest host with us. She actually is one of the people that inspired me to become a YouTuber in the first place, and I am proud to call her one of my best friends, the one, the only, AbilityDrain.
Oh, shucks. What an introduction. Everyone's probably thinking, oh, it's probably like a voice actor. No, it's just me. You're all disappointed, I know.
Heads up, you do not need to have a British accent to be a female on this show.
Oh, really? So I can drop the accent? That's all right. Oh, my God. Thank for that, because I was, like, totally getting bored with the fake British accent.
That's not bad for American. You also do not need to have an American accent to be a male on this show.
I like that her American accent was swearing as well.
It's a force of habit.
But yeah, I just happen to be friends with a lot of women from the UK, so...
It's
there
a
you
thing.
go.
In what definition?
Well, what definition do you think, really? Come
Well,
on.
BioFan, how do you know all these British women?
Women from the UK.
Okay.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Andromenerds is supposed to post every week, but this week is special because something happened. So we had to delay last week's episode, and you will get that at the usual time later this week, which is Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 at night in the UK, and Friday morning at 10:45 in the Chatham Islands. If you want to be a part of the future of this show, you need to email us at andromenerds@gmail.com. But this week, we'll be chatting about everything from the PlayStation meeting reveal and afterwards, which contained a reasonable amount of leak confirmations and some good news stuff. So there's a lot of stuff here. We're going to discuss, first of all, what was your favorite thing from the recent reveals? And I'm going to make Tucker go first.
The jetpack.
The jetpack?
Well, that and just how the area looked, I would say.
So
Art style.
that's two separate things. You're only supposed to choose one.
Jetpack.
Is it? If I tell you to choose one, is everyone's like, dude, there was so much stuff in that trailer. Why do you want to choose one?
I'd pick Jetpack just simply because that adds a whole brand new mechanic to Mass Effect that opens up such a huge variety of playability now. Having a jetpack, you can now add a whole bunch of verticality to the game.
But the jetpack wasn't something new. I mean, that's something we've known about for a while.
Well, so.
But you got to see it in all of its glory and not in some like very early stages leaked footage thing.
Yeah, it did its little boosty things.
So what did you guys think about, let's say, the power of the jetpack? Because it looked a little dinky, which I don't actually mind, but...
If it blasts me up, then all good, you know? Maybe we can upgrade it. It could be a thing that, you know, perhaps if we're able to gather enough resources or whatever, then... we can upgrade it and we'll be able to boost a little higher or something. That could be a thing.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that's a thing. That was in the big Reddit leak.
Because if you look at the leaked footage that we're not supposed to show for some reason, if you look at that, like the jetpack, I mean, it is earlier stages, but the jetpack doesn't look quite as high tech. But going frame by frame, when I was doing my analysis of the gameplay, it just basically what it does is a quick big burst of fire, and then and then it cools off as you go down.
I mean, it might be that they're just not showing us exactly what it can do. It could be a case of a little tap makes a little burst, and then like a bigger, longer tap will make it go up higher or something, depending on...
I think it's just the Andromeda version of the Inquisition jump button, really.
I hope the jump's much more responsive than that. It was very hard to climb in that game.
That, and whenever you jump, you'd end up doing the...
You'd be like bunny hopping.
Yeah, there's some really good footage I got of Inquisition of me trying to climb up steps. Does not go well.
Did you guys ever get that glitch where you jump and you'd end up sort of suspended in air and you do like a moonwalk backwards? Because that would happen to me all the time.
No,
but I did.
You're talking about getting caught on a ledge, right?
No, just in general. You do a little
Just in
jump and it
general.
would
No,
just
okay.
glitch out.
No,
It's
but I did
hilarious.
get to where a dragon would like swipe at me with its paw, and I would fly hundreds of feet in the air.
That's genius.
That was
See,
fun.
the combination of that two reminds me of a really old Skyrim glitch where the dragons, instead of landing and going forward, they would fly backwards, and when they would try to land, instead they just keep flying up in the sky.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember the rocket mammoths.
So that just reminded me, because BioFan talked about dragons and AbilityDrain just talked about moonwalking, so...
The moonwalking dragon.
What kind of jetpack glitch would you want in Mass Effect Andromeda? Go.
Glitch or possibility? Like, what are we talking
Possibility.
about here?
You don't want to like hit the button and then fly all the way up into the atmosphere and then die?
I would absolutely love for one to like inverse itself. So like you press it and just in the ground.
Get sunk down into the core of the earth?
Just go through the map.
I think it'd be fun if like you could go up to a certain height, so you could like look around at things, kind of like you go up and it's kind of like a jetpack, but like continuous stream jetpack, and you can just kind of look around, see what's around, and then go back down. Maybe not go forward or backward or around or anything, not flying, but like go up for a bit so you can get like a look at stuff.
I'd like it if it glitched out like the Mako and just like shot off all over the place. Brilliant.
Doing a barrel roll.
Yeah.
If anyone has footage of glitches of that, we're going to want that later. Anyway, back to what AD was saying as far as control goes. Probably the jetpack is one of the number one things I'm looking forward to seeing what the game's like when I get my hands on it. But it looked a little more responsive than I thought. You could see at some of the jumps, the Ryder character would pull up a little bit shorter, wouldn't go as far, and sometimes he'd launch forward and go farther, and maybe there's a lot of control there. Kind of tough to tell from a couple jumps that were pretty straightforward. I mean, Ryder was walking through that cavern very slowly.
It was to show off how pretty it was.
Yeah, they want to put a big emphasis on the fact that it's very pretty, especially as they were making a big deal out of the 4K thing. So I think they were purposely keeping it to walking slowly so we could see just how pretty the thing looks.
Yeah, if you also notice, there's no HUD.
Yeah, they purposely removed that as well, I
So.
suspect.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
true.
I think that they did that with the Dragon Age demo as well, so like years ago.
Yeah, there's other little things like the camera angle is centered, and that's not the way it's always going to be.
No, apparently the camera angle changes with context. So what we saw was the basic exploration cam, but it will change depending on what you're doing, I suppose.
I bet there's, like, if you look at part where I think we climb up one of those glowing green rocky things that serves as a bridge, but it's not a bridge, that other thing. Like, we climb up on it, and there's that arrow that was similar to how you moved around during combat in Mass Effect 3. So I'm guessing the camera will move in kind of like Mass Effect 3 angles
zoom
with the
in
combat.
and-
Yeah.
That sounds about right, I reckon.
Also, I had a number of people on my channel that were concerned about the way Ryder moved, but he's walking the whole time.
And he's
Like,
jogging.
almost the whole time, and then like jogging. So it really, we'd have to get a look at some combat to know exactly how this stuff handles. But this was more of a, hey, look how pretty this game is. And they succeeded. It was very pretty.
It was very pretty. Like, I'm still in disbelief of how gorgeous it looks.
It's very pretty.
Did you guys get a look at it in 4K? I don't want to put too much of an emphasis on 4K,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I just recently bought a 4K TV, so I very much
Good deal.
watched some videos on that.
I need to get 4K in my life now.
you need
apparently.
to go into like a Best Buy or something and say, I need you to go look at this video for me.
Yeah, just put it
Can
on
you
all the
can you put this
screens.
video on the TV for me?
It's only like 3 minutes long. Can you just throw that up for a bit?
You're like, I need to test this TV. And then you need to try to not act impressed so you don't have to buy it.
I've seen better.
I've seen 8K. This is
You can see colours, every colour that even exists that you can't with a naked eye. You can see space and time itself.
I kind of wonder if when it goes to from 4K to 8K, am I even going to be able to notice? Like,
I don't.
like at that point, like it's so
But
refined.
at that point,
I,
you'll be so old that you're near blind.
I'll be near blind. Yeah. All right, Ability Drain. What was your favorite part of all the stuff from this weekend
The Asari.
or this week? The Asari.
Yeah. I thought she was super cool because obviously in the previous trailer we got a look at her up close, and I don't know about anyone else, but I was kind of assuming she'd come across as very tomboyish, so I was expecting like a deep voice for her, and then to hear her talk and she sounds very feminine and stuff and very young. I was like, oh, okay, so she isn't, at least from what we've seen, as I expected her to be, and I find that interesting. And plus I really liked her outfit.
I mean, she's like playful, like a kid. Well, not a kid, like
I don't know. Who knows?
like
We
a young
haven't even-
adult.
She might literally be a kid, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I know everyone's supposed to be a lot younger this time around.
Yeah,
so.
the cast is supposed to be kind of younger because Ryder's younger, so they're kind of matching that up. It also is probably because they want to try and target younger people to come in and play the game, so they have that audience to come in. Because
I was just expecting her to be tomboyish.
Mass
that's all.
Effect 3 came out a while ago, so they're trying to go for the people that never played, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
But
But I mean,
think-
obviously they want new people to come in without having experience from the previous games. So
Yeah.
that's probably another reason why they're going for, a younger cast in terms of inexperience and things.
Liara, though, was very, very young for an Asari.
for an Asari, but she was like 145 for living.
Out of 1,000.
So that's like a 10-year-old
Yeah,
in
Tally
Asari
was
terms.
also young too.
Yeah. Tally was pretty young. So this Asari could be something like 40 to 60, and that would be very, very young.
Well, I mean, it might be not necessarily in age. It might also be in experience as well. So, people that are rookies, which could be any age, really. So.
To me, it seems like she has some kind of element of goofiness to her, kind of. Like she's like smart or intellectual, but she's also kind of a goof at the same time. Like how she did that hop kind of thing.
Yeah, like the little stumble or turn thing while the whatever that guardian thing was attacking.
The remnant.
I was just expecting a deeper voice, just like just very tomboyish is what I was expecting. And
Hello, I am an Asari.
no, just like
Asari.
just like a bit boyish,
I guess so, yeah.
Just not because when you look at the Asari, they're very feminine and everything like that. And I thought it would be kind of fun if she was more tomboyish and a bit, maybe closer to. Do you remember Liara's dad? How she was quite masculine for an Asari, kind of like that, but younger.
I guess so. She was just mean, so.
Yeah, no, Arya was mean.
Your insolence is a poor mask for your fear.
It was kind of interesting. We chat a little bit before the show on what we like to see. BioFan sent over a bunch of stuff he wanted to talk about, and the one point is BioFan's favorite Asari ever.
I love her. She is like, I love her her look. Like I love her how she has like that dark coloration around her eyes and that solid band, and then that cool forehead, and then like purple lower face half. Like just that from that one trailer, I was like, that looks cool. And then she has this really cool outfit on that's giving me kind of like archaeology kind of vibes, and her kind of demeanor is she's this smart intellectual person. Like pretty much all Asari kind of have that, but then at the same time I feel like she has this element of goofiness to her. She's just I like her a lot.
I think we found BioFan's first romance.
She is my, like, until some really hunky dude shows up, she's my, like, go-to assumed romance option for right now.
There's always a hunky guy. It's by
Yeah, when he shows up, that will change, but for right now...
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a hunky guy, just look at the male Ryder.
You can't romance yourself. Well, you can romance yourself, but not,
Yeah,
not
I don't know
conventionally
if
in the
that's
game.
really what people are looking for. Wow,
No,
Ryder
okay.
can romance himself.
It's just a scene of him in the bathroom.
What, if you don't romance anyone, it's just love yourself.
He just has a magazine.
Like at the end, before the final battle, when you always have sex with your romance
Oh,
option,
man.
if you don't romance anyone, you go in the bathroom by yourself.
God, how would they make that scene? Just him just going to town on himself.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Either that or he has like a blow-up doll version of Bro Ryder.
Oh no! Now you're going too far.
Too
Like a
far,
body
Tucker.
pillow.
This is the stuff that gets cut out.
No, this stuff's getting left in.
No, keep this in. This is
Oh,
gold.
all right.
Okay, BioFan, is the Asari your favorite thing too from the reveal, or
Yes.
pick something else just for the sake of
Okay,
discussion?
pick something else that was really cool. Okay. So I can't say the jetpack. I can't
Butt
say
flaps.
the awesome Asari.
The
What?
butt flaps. The butt flaps.
I hate the butt flaps. Okay, I'll just bring this up because I hate the butt flaps. Okay, so with
What are they for?
I don't know. Okay, so on Ryder's body, obviously near his butt, he has these two like belts, flappy things. I don't know what they're for. They move when you walk. I don't know. They just don't go with the outfit.
What is it you thought they were for? Go on, tell him.
From what it looks like, they look like they have little rings on them. So I'm guessing if you scan a plant or something, that they didn't do this in the demo, but quite possibly in the game. Oh, you find a plant. All right, you want to pick it up, then like you'll have a little pouch
Attach it to
hooked
your
onto
butt.
there.
What is Ryder Morrissey now? You've just got flowers attached to your ass.
Well, no, you like put it in a pouch so you can bring it back to the ship or
But why-
to your base
why-
or whatever to analyze it.
On your ass? Why?
I do not want a fanny pack.
Yeah, you put
Well,
it in a pouch.
it'd be in the pouch. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. I mean, you could think like Witcher 3, where he attaches trophies to the side of his horse. Instead, you got this gigantic flower
Attached
coming
to
out of your
butt.
ass. Yeah.
Great,
And
great.
then graphically, we can do this.
Well, what was it you thought it was for, BioFan? Tell him.
It could be like say you're jetpacking and you're trying to go up like a cliff or a hill or something. Maybe it's kind of like rock climbing equipment, like you like loop a belt
On your
through
ass?
Through it.
That's
I don't
exactly
know.
what I said.
We have no
How
idea.
are you going to ass first up a cliff face? It's just the image of that is absurd.
I don't know.
funny.
Okay, they have some utility kind of use to them. I'm thinking because
Parachute
otherwise they
ass
need
first.
to exnay the butt flap. You told me to talk about something else, and all my other favorites were taken. So I just
You only had two favorites?
Why has no one mentioned the remnant?
We were saving it.
because we don't know anything about them yet.
All right.
One thing I did notice about the remnant that I thought was, I guess the word could be interesting, is that their tentacle things have tentacle things.
I think those are fingers.
But are they the remnant, or are they just
They call them the
floating
remnant.
things around?
Yeah, they're called remnant, but from my understanding, aren't the remnant kind of supposed to be like the Protheans, just extinct, no
Yeah.
longer there?
I mean, if that's their ancient technology and those little things floating around made it, I'm wondering how they managed it, because they don't look capable of it, you know.
I think they're like keepers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say. I
that's
think they're
probably
like
what they are.
keepers. Like the remnant made them, but they call them the remnant, but I don't know.
I thought they looked really cool.
They reminded me of jellyfish.
Yeah, they look like Hannah but tinier.
But they had this nanotech thing going on and lots of crazy energy. I was like really, really interested in them.
They do have multiple forms, though. There's the ones with the tentacles and the tentacles. There's the ones without tentacles that are attacking us at the end.
I think those ones without tentacles, actually, those tentacles, they kind of like roll up and
Roll
then
up?
they float
Okay.
after you. I think
But
they're
then
the
there's
same,
that.
but maybe not.
There's this one that has these large, bulky extremities that's in like the background.
There was some that looked like they were made of stone that started coming
Yeah,
towards
there was
you
one
as
that was
well.
really big, bulky extremity kind of things before you go through the door that's kind of around the corner.
Did you notice that with the first remnant that we saw, that there was kind of like some form of electricity going between the tentacles?
There was a lot of weird stuff going on.
It looked like you know, if you've ever had one of those snow globe like things that have electricity in it, it looked like the little shocks kind of going up, starting from the bottom of the tentacles, going up towards the body.
Another thing that I noticed that was pretty big about the remnant as well as their environment is they kind of have like this green glow kind of thing going on, and their environment does too. And I'm thinking, because the plants aren't supposed to like kind of survive there when we scanned it, and the remnant are kind of really super duper ancient, I'm wondering if because they're so old that they evolved into like part organic, part synthetic, kind of like the I can't talk today. Kind of like the synthesis ending for Mass Effect 3, but in Andromeda, because they were so old and didn't have Reapers wiping them out every 50,000 years, like they evolved into part organic, part synthetic beings, maybe?
That's a possibility.
I think green's just a really cool color.
There was some orange going on too.
Yeah, there's some
that was
orange
cool.
and some blue. There's just colors
Bit of blue.
everywhere. It's great. I love colors. Colors are great.
Okay, my favorite thing, and I'm going to be self-serving on this, is the reveal that the N7 dude is the Ryder dad.
Yeah, we predicted this one. Me and
AbilityDrain were talking, and we were like, he's totally the dad. And then like a couple hours later, like, oh my god, we were right.
Yeah, because we were totally talking about this. It was like we were just chatting away about what had been revealed, and I said, what if that's the sister, and because obviously she was wearing the same outfit as Ryder.
Oh, I'm talking about from the
like,
trailer though, the old.
Well, yeah,
trailer,
no, I know, but then
which we'll get into that. Which is the
BioFan
video
then
that I
said,
had.
what if that's the dad? And then it just
what if?
Yeah, that could be. And then we sort of spoke about it, and we were like, well, that makes sense because of this, that, and the other. And
like I was thinking it was the sister and the brother, or like the sister and a parent, or the brother and another parent. And then
so you guys are talking specifically about the other character that's in the new gameplay stuff.
Yeah, towards the
there's a
end.
Which
female,
those two.
I
Yeah,
am
not
not convinced that that's the
Asari,
dad at
but-
all.
Okay,
But I'm
Oh, wait, what are
talking
you
about
talking
specifically the N7 character from the other trailers.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
the dad. But I
Yeah.
think that like that could be the dad as well. And what BioWare
But,
done
like,
is just
in an-
put him in a different outfit, just so it wouldn't be too obvious. Because I don't know that they were necessarily aware that they were going to reveal that was the father when they put that gameplay demo out. So maybe they purposely dressed him in something else, just not to throw people off, or sorry, to throw people off. And then when whoever it was announced that actually the dad is the N7 guy, then perhaps they are in fact one and the same. The guy from the gameplay trailer, just in a different outfit.
I think he's a placeholder, to be honest. I think he's just a random placeholder character because they didn't have the character's design down yet.
I don't know. By this point, they would have done though, because they designed that a long time before. Like,
Well, they may not have it exhibition quality. That's the key.
Well, I mean, yeah, the textures might
that's
be
why
a little
the
shoddy,
female
perhaps.
was also covered up.
Yeah, but they might have
because
done
of
that also because they hadn't announced at that point that the siblings were were both protagonists, and depending on who you play as, the other still exists in the world. So they might not have wanted to, announce that too.
What I'm thinking is, so they have the two people there. I thought that it was interesting that all of their clothing has the same color scheme, so that's what kind of tipped me off. Maybe they're family.
Yeah.
Then we found out about the male and female Ryder thing. I was like, okay, maybe she's female Ryder, and they have her covered up because they're trying to debut male Ryder and don't want to distract you, and they weren't sure if they were going to announce that yet. And then the other guy, like the male Ryder and the female character are standing really close together. So I was like, okay, and their color scheme matches up really good in their outfits. So I'm thinking maybe it's one of the two protagonist options. But then the other guy is standing a little further away, and his pants kind of throw off the color scheme. I call them dad pants. It's going over very well. People like the dad pants. And so I'm thinking because he has that slight variation, he could be the dad, and it could be either in a lot of trailers, BioWare will switch things up, switch out assets, change character appearance kind of things, sometimes take characters out of scenes, all sorts of things for advertising purposes, as well as not to spoil too heavily. So maybe that is why it's a different outfit. Also, it could be that your dad doesn't start out as N7 and then later is promoted to the N7 program or something.
I don't think that's true at all.
Okay,
The N7
well,
program is in the Milky Way. It'd be really, really tough to recreate that in a different galaxy that quick, especially if you're trying to wake up and then go. Because if you're waking up and going, as far as getting out of cryostasis and then going, unless you wake up late or something, I mean, you'd need dozens of years to establish something like an N7 program. I think if you're N7, you don't take the N7 off.
Well, okay, first off, something I've been wondering is, where's the mother? They've announced the father, the brother, the sister. Where's the mother?
she
dead.
did.
And another thing is,
She's like, who do you think the dog tags come from them? If our sibling is there and our dad is there, who do you think the dog tags belonged to that was a family member that's not there?
the pet dog that's taking a nap.
We took his dog tags
died.
because he's taking a nap and traveled to a different galaxy.
So one thing that I think that you guys are overlooking as far as the siblings and family go is in the quote where Mac Walters talked about the brother and sister thing, he said specifically that the sibling was somewhere else in the world, not with you, not as a squad mate, but somewhere
out
else
in the universe.
He didn't say the sibling wasn't a squad mate, though. I think he was leaving it vague.
No, he did not say, but somewhere else kind of implies that they're doing their own thing. So I'll go ahead and go back with another theory, which goes back to my original Ryder family theory, which is where the dad was from a couple months ago, which got me all excited and woke me up in the middle of the night when I saw that. I think that their dad and the other sibling are off somewhere else. So, and then they might get into a conflict with each other over what direction they want this colonization attempt to take, and then you need to side with one of them.
Or what about this? Because we know there's multiple arcs going on. What if the family gets split up? Like whoever you pick goes on the arc that has that Asari and Drac and Cora and all those people, and the other arc goes somewhere else. Somewhere in the beginning of the game, the arcs get separated. One maybe gets taken over or something, and then in the middle of the game, you find your sibling and you see that the people that you've been maybe fighting with, or the person that you think is the enemy, from your sibling's point of view, they're the good guy and you're on the wrong side. And so that conflict may happen.
Or a conflict in general where you are against.
Great area of morality.
So it's really of perspective, of whose perspective is correct, because, and this is also in real life. From your point of view, you're the good. From your point of view, you're the good guy.
But from theirs, they're the good guy. Yeah, like in an argument, you always assume you're right. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we did end up against a family member, be it the sibling or the father or whatever. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because that's the sort of thing that happens.
I'd like to be able to choose.
Yeah.
Really, like, if they're, let's say your father wants to dominate the entire Helios cluster, and your sibling wants to, kind of create a coalition between the existing races that are in the Helios cluster and the newcomers and have everyone be friends. And then you have to kind of choose what direction you want to go with. And then whoever you choose to go against becomes the main antagonist.
You know what I think will happen? We'll have to choose between saving the dad or your sibling. That's what I reckon.
Oh, yeah.
If dad doesn't die on his own.
There is going to be a possibility of a sibling father death. There's
always a family death if there's family.
Or you think that one's died and it turns out they're the big bad. I know that's going a bit Star Wars, but it's like you're fighting them and it turns out that it's your...
Ryder, I am your father.
Yeah, that's the leader of the big bad, and you're like, shit.
They got to be really careful with an "I am your father" moment.
Yeah.
They're going to lose so many people if halfway through the N7 guy takes Ryder, I am your father, and everyone's like, oh my god.
But if you look at what we've seen of our dad doing in the trailers, he's dropping a dude off of a cliff. He's going into a planet, guns blazing. He's walking around in the desert. He doesn't seem like
Didn't they say? Hold up. Reverse a minute. You said the N7 guy is dropping the guy off the cliff. Didn't they confirm the guy being dropped off the cliff was us? Why is our dad dropping us off a cliff?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Should have done this when you were younger.
Should have aborted you. Yeah.
That's a different guy.
They haven't confirmed who that guy is.
Didn't they say that the facial tattoo guy was us? I'm sure they did.
No, they didn't.
You sure? Because I swear I read a tweet saying that the guy with the tattoo was supposed to be us. Because I was like, okay. Because I assumed the N7 guy originally was us, before they announced anything.
I think we had a conversation that I thought maybe he could be us because, he looked really customized back when the footage was leaked. But then when they put out the trailer of him dropping us off a cliff, I was like, oh, shit. I don't know now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a bad guy of some kind. A really pathetic bad guy because he doesn't do too well. Well,
of course he's bad guy. He's got a tattoo on his face. That's just standard. Yeah. He's probably British as well.
I imagine he likes to twirl a long mustache as well.
Yeah, he's got his monocle.
Oh, they need to add that then. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. There better be monocles in the game or I'm going to cancel my pre-order.
I would love to see a Krogan with a monocle and that kind of mustache.
That would be adorable.
So you mentioned there's the two other characters, humans, flanking Ryder, and AD and BioFan think they're family. I think that the female is actually Cora from the big Reddit leak.
So you think Korra is human and not the Asari?
I think Korra is human. I think the Asari is someone else. There's going to be a female human squad mate.
Yeah, there has to be a female human and a female male that are female male.
A female male.
Female male, yeah.
Female male.
I know a few of those.
That would be progress, definitely.
So a male companion that you can romance and a female companion that you can romance is pretty much always has to be in there. But
Very, very BioWare. But if that's the case, then it wouldn't be a sibling. Assuming you cannot romance your sibling.
I would certainly hope not.
I'm assuming we probably won't.
Let's see how much Game of Thrones has really changed media nowadays.
The Asari doesn't use any biotics in this scene, so maybe Korra, the biotic, isn't the Asari. Like, not all Asari are super biotic. It's not necessarily their specialty, so maybe this Asari is like a gun enthusiast.
Gun enthusiast Asari. That could have been a tomboy.
We're really
the badass explosion escaping Asari.
Here's a question somewhat related to that. Did you guys recognize any of the voices in the trailer?
I was just going to say, who do you reckon the Asari and the others are voiced by?
I thought the Asari kind of sounded Allegra Clark-ish. I'm not confident, though, but I was kind of like, maybe a little bit.
She also had a slight sound of, oh God, what's her name? Is it Courtney Taylor, I want to say?
Courtney
that
Taylor?
voiced Jack? She sounds like she's got a slight sound of the voice. Yeah, like a graveliness.
The Asari had a bit of Jack in her.
Yeah.
In the voice.
So, I mean, I don't know if they'd use her again, because obviously she'd already done Jack in the previous
they
trilogy,
love to bring back voice actors that they like to work with. Yeah, so
I suppose maybe.
I think they would. I mean, Raphael Sparge and Jennifer Hale in Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah, they've been in loads of stuff, haven't they?
And
Mark Meir played the male elven prostitute in Dragon Age 2.
Yeah,
so, Jathan.
I find it really, really interesting that they didn't want to confirm anything, and I also think it's really interesting that a lot of people heard different voices.
I thought, like, with male Ryder, it sounded like Brian T. Delaney, who voiced the protagonist for Fallout 4.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounded for me, too. I kind of heard that as well.
Others are saying Nolan North.
Those are the two popular ones right now.
Troy
that
Baker.
people are guessing.
I don't know about Troy Baker,
No,
but Troy Baker can be a lot of...
But his voice, he can do all sorts of accents. So, I mean, it could be him, but we wouldn't know.
And how you said that people heard other voices, I imagine that some people were hoping to hear a voice, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's that person, definitely.
I heard Nolan North, and I become less and less convinced of that the more I listen to it, because only parts of it sound like Nolan North. Another person, maybe Matthew Mercer.
Oh, that would be cool. He's super nice guy.
Does sound a lot like Matthew Mercer. That was Echo Yin who suggested that.
And he's very, very popular right now. So, and he's big into D&D, and all of the BioWare lot are. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was. And I'm totally cool with that because he's a really good actor.
Here's another possibility, and I don't like this possibility that much, but it is possible. What if there are multiple voices that you can choose from, like in Dragon Age?
Like in Inquisition. That would be cool.
I don't know if it would be.
Okay, so the reason they did that was because the races typically, like the Asari, Asari and Dragon Age, the Canary spoke with American accents usually, and then the dwarves usually spoke with American accents. They hired on those voice actors later. It was just Harry and Alex Wilson Regan at first, because we were just going to be humans, and then when they added the races, they hired the other ones on. So I think it's just a male and female voice. I don't think they'll... Because for voicing a protagonist, you have to pay that voice actor quite a lot of money, and you have to book a lot of dialogue, lot of time in the booth that you could be using for other voice actors. So I think that's something that they wouldn't do unless it was kind of really important to the characters.
Which is also one of the reasons why your sibling probably won't be around that often. Because you would need an entire bunch of
there's also the point with how much choice goes into Mass Effect. The dialogue, the script alone must be like pages or books worth of just dialogue for the main characters. The dialogue could change in the same scene 7 times because you have 7 different people there.
And then for them to voice also a squad mate, if your sibling did stick around, that's a hell of a lot to voice. Mm-hmm. And also, that's also going to take away, in a way, agency and role playability from the protagonist, because, you know, you're going to see the brother, if you're playing as the female, acting a certain way. And then when you go to play as a male, you're like, well, you know, he acted like this originally. And it might then feel a bit weird to act him out in the way you want to, because you've already seen him behave a certain way. So
yeah, that is a good point.
Thinking about
right
it,
there.
you're probably right that, you know, the sibling might be around briefly, you know, just to start off with, and then, you know, bugger off somewhere doing his or her own thing.
Again, throwing in my theory.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, thinking about it from that perspective.
If you're listening and you have heard a certain voice of a voice actor, let us know at andromenerds@gmail.com or in the comment section. And how about also, what voice actors or other actors would you like to see in Andromeda? Andromenerds@gmail.com.
So do you think that we're going to have, like, you know, the Fallout 4 character creator where you designed your main character and your spouse? Do you think we'll have that for the Ryder siblings? Or do you think it's going to be like Dragon Age 2 where certain skin tone or hair color things will affect how your sibling looks?
That's something that's really interested me, actually. It's something I brought up in my news video. I do wonder how they're going to do that. Because personally, I'd like to be able to design not only my protagonist Ryder, but the sibling and probably the dad as well. But would they let us do that? That's the question.
I really hope you have as much control as possible. As opposed
I would
to
like to,
genetics,
definitely.
like, you know, making an average. Who knows if technology might have gotten a lot better as far as that's concerned. But I don't. Did you guys play the GTA 5 multiplayer at all when it first came out?
Yeah,
and
I've
the
actually
character
played
creator on that,
today.
where you chose your ancestors and then got the ugliest possible character coming out. Like, you could not make that character attractive in any way. It was impossible. Yeah, that's my worry.
In Fallout 4, they take certain attributes of the appearance of you and your spouse for later when spoilers if you haven't beaten Fallout 4 yet, cover your ears. Spoilers. Spoiler warning. Later when they bring in your son.
All right, hold on. I'm stopping for a second.
Later when they bring in your son as an adult, they use aspects of you and your spouse's facial features to make his appearance. So it's different for everyone on what exactly it looks like.
He still didn't look anything like my character. He came out Asian, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, so there that's the problem that I wanted to bring up, is that the technology not there yet to do that, unless BioWare.
My son looked. My son in Fallout 4 looked like my characters.
All right, I'm back.
Well, as a baby, he came out black, and I don't know why, because, like...
The baby did look a little dark, because, like, my character was super pale. I was like...
And when he was older, he looked like he was Chinese or something, so I was like, okay.
Saren is indoctrinated, Tucker. That's the spoiler.
I'm a fight a bitch.
Sorry, everyone, if you didn't know that, and you're listening to a Mass Effect podcast.
Well, you know, if we're talking about Mass Effect spoilers, that's fine. I'm still haven't finished Fallout 4. I'm still kind of working my way through that.
Oh,
you also have not finished Inquisition, and you best get on that.
Well, it actually is avoiding spoilers because of how much my teachers have me research and do things with the video game industry, and also just from what I've been doing because of my school. I have a lot of spoilers for a lot of video games.
Sometimes it's unavoidable.
So those that have not spoiled yet for me that I'm working on, I really try to avoid those.
Just curl up into a ball.
But you need to finish Inquisition. It's very important that you
I can't wait for a month before Mass Effect Andromeda comes out, and then all of us here are going through each one of our comments, deleting spoilers and doing all that. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably go radio silent if I can't get it early. And I have to wait, because obviously in England we always get it like a million years later.
Yeah, you get it on the Friday instead of the Tuesday.
Well, yeah, but if someone's in the comment section spoiling the game, you got to remove that.
I'll just avoid the internet. Like, nope,
but you got to remove the comments from your own video so your fans don't get spoiled.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can filter that shit out anyway with YouTube. So
I remember,
they won't have to see it.
Like, because I was studying abroad in Edinburgh, Scotland, when Inquisition came out. So everybody in America got it on Tuesday. and I had to suffer the longest wait of my life until Friday to finally play it, and it was torture, and I spoiled myself so bad. So bad. I couldn't resist.
I got it early. Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some other cool things that were from the gameplay reveal. First of all, I love those plants, man. I love those plants. I was like in love with those plants.
I love the scanning.
The orange yellow ones. They were
we
pretty
called
cute.
that. We called
Yeah,
that.
you totally did call that.
Totally called that.
I did. And all of you guys were saying,
I was like,
maybe. And then as I explained.
and then you went into it. I'm like, okay, you got a plan here. And
Yeah.
I'm certainly thinking around the same thing.
And
Take a bow.
I did. So in terms of the plant, I'm going to hit you with some science up in here. So the plant, it says that it's a Thalos life form. Thalos is actually an adjective for something that's like a thallus, which is a plant body that is not differentiated into stems and leaves and lacks true roots and vascular system. Thalli are typical of
said
algae,
thallus.
fungi, lichens, and some liverworts.
Yeah, so we're going to get back into how bad I am at biology, which I revealed in my most recent video. I just want to say, like, one of the things it's been missing from science fiction a lot visually, mainly because of technology, is when you go to, like, an alien world with life on it, I would expect to see the most bizarre wildlife out there. Weird-looking plants with different colors and completely different structures. And the technology now, as far as getting foliage and stuff, is there to the fact that you can actually make plants that look like plants. Graphically, and you could not do that 10 years ago. So I'm really looking forward to that because it's clearly a part of the game. And you're going to go to alien worlds and you're going to have alien-looking plants and alien-looking worlds, and that's phenomenal. That's a real word, by the way. Look it up.
I'm going to look that up.
Don't look it up. You're going to waste your time.
I also like how the plant, it says that it's related to like it looks like a plant or is related to a plant that you saw on the surface of a planet called Eos. I find it funny that they went with Eos because that's like a popular chapstick brand.
Oh, I'm sure that's what they had
It
in mind.
sounds like the name of a planet, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It really does.
It sounds like the
I'm
name of a
trying to
planet.
think of, especially with how many planets are in Mass Effect, that they had to have just like thrown some Scrabble letters on the ground and went, that looks good.
That
looks sci-fi.
There are vowels and consonants that fit. Okay, let's do that.
They normally do is that they'll take like a language group or like a group of myths or gods and then name everything in that. So, for instance, Turians have a lot of Roman-sounding names. Or if you go into a system, they'll be gods of a similar language. So you can just take language groups and then go into history on Earth and then name them after stuff like that, which is very fascinating and a lot of fun to read into. So there's no lack of names for sure. And the whole thing, Andromeda thing, has kind of a Greek god thing going on.
Yeah, with the Helios cluster and the Hyperion ship that were Greek gods, right?
Yeah.
Or one of them was a Titan. Sorry.
Greek mythology.
But still Greek gods. Greek mythology,
Yeah,
there you go.
Greek mythology is the way to go with it. All right, what was your favorite thing that we haven't talked about within the vault?
I like the floor that did the thing.
The floor that
pretty.
did the thing.
What do we think the
Yeah.
heart will do? What do you think? Like, they talked about how there's all these vaults and all these other places. Do you think we're trying to harness the energy of the heart? Do you think we're trying to study
I think
it?
there's technology or a data cache or something. That was also in the big Reddit leak. That the entire point
Yeah,
of the
because we
vault
found the
and-
map of the cluster when we went there, so I think maybe that's what they were looking for was the map.
Like they're on a treasure hunt following something to
Yeah,
each
treasure
place
hunting.
to find something. That's what it seemed like to me. Like they went there to find something and then found more clues to find it elsewhere, kind of thing. Like a scavenger hunt done by the ancient aliens or whatever.
The
That's what it
remnant.
seemed like to me, yeah. Well, if it is the remnant, there could have been something else before that, which is usually the sort of thing BioWare do, so...
In the big Reddit leak, it talks about that. That's what those vaults are for. You go into them to get to the heart. The heart has loot or technology or blueprints or, like files or something that you want to grab. You grab those, the vault gets active, everything turns on you, and you got to escape, which is pretty much
Yeah.
exactly what
Indiana
happened.
Jones style.
Exactly what happened in the gameplay reveal.
aren't the vaults supposedly what multiplayer is going to be?
No, that's one of the possibilities for some, like, somewhat multiplayer. It's a little bit more confusing. It's going to be more of raids and stuff, like wave-based stuff.
Because what I thought, I may be remembering this wrong, but what I thought that the multiplayer is there's going to be vaults, and you can either go do them yourselves, or you can send a team out to do it. And if you send a team out to do it, you can do that in multiplayer with friends.
Yeah, that's one of the options.
That probably will be a thing.
One of the options, not the main multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think that may not be for vaults. That might just be for side strike
Something
missions.
else?
You know, like when you play Dragon Age Inquisition or Metal Gear Solid 5, you could send an away team out to do missions.
Yeah. It might be, different modes and stuff. So you've got wave, and then you've got, like, scavenger hunts and God knows what. Just
And
different modes.
In Mass Effect 3, there was those N7 missions that were basically the multiplayer maps. You remember those?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird tack-on thing.
I'm trying to forget.
That didn't quite fit in the actual single-player campaign, but
Yeah, it
No.
really didn't.
Nah.
it
But,
didn't bother me at all because I just wanted to get more experience and more points to get cooler stuff. So, whatever.
I just didn't want to die at the end, so I was like, I'll do it begrudgingly so that I don't die in the destroy ending, so I can at least have the breathing scene to make me feel better.
I mean, a lot of people didn't like the Pinnacle DLC in Mass Effect 1. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I can't even remember that now. Which
Yeah,
one
I don't
was that?
even remember. It
That
was
was
so long
the
ago.
one where it's basically just simulations and you're fighting or things
Oh,
like that.
what with the guy that was hooked up? Oh,
No,
fuck.
that was
What was
Overlord.
That was ME2. That was
Oh, that was
Overlord
in Mass
for
Effect 2.
ME2.
What was the... I can't remember that one. That's how long it's been since I played Mass Effect 1.
It was the one where
That's
if you beat
terrible.
it all, then the captain of the ship that you're on, he gives you a challenge to survive for 5 minutes, and if you do, you get his little house in a nearby planet.
I don't remember that. That's terrible.
Is that just on Xbox?
It may have been.
I think it
but
was.
A lot of people did not like it. I liked it. I enjoyed that DLC.
Someone's going to correct us.
Why don't I remember that? That's really weird. I'm sure I played all the DLC
I mean, Mass Effect 1 only has 2 DLC. The Pinnacle
and
and
the Overlord.
Wait,
Was that no Overlord was Mass Effect 2, wasn't it?
Take back...
can't remember.
Crap. What was the other Mass Effect 1 DLC?
The Batarian stuff.
Y'all are totally failing at your job. This is Andromenerds, a Mass Effect Andromeda, but still Mass Effect podcast.
Batarian
To
stuff.
be fair, I'm more clued up on Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, same here.
And I haven't touched Mass Effect in years because I really didn't like the endings for the third one. So I'm a little rusty.
Bring Down the Sky. That was it.
Yes.
Oh,
I didn't know. I
yeah,
knew
there
exactly
you go.
what you were talking about. Did not know the name. Because it said
Yeah.
Batarian guys with Balak.
Oh God!
And Pinnacle Station.
Yes, no, yes, I remember
Pinnacle
now.
Station is included in the PC edition of the Mass Effect trilogy.
Okay. You cannot get it on PlayStation, by the way.
Bring Down the Sky is $1, while Pinnacle Station is $5. It's a really weird. I imagine it would have been the other
Well,
way.
I know which one I would buy.
Well, Bring Down the Sky actually did have some effect in the future game. Like, your choice actually did affect some kind of future stuff, while Pinnacle Station didn't. But I did like the, see how many waves of enemies you could survive with your group of people.
Which you will definitely
enjoyed
get in the multiplayer. So,
Yeah.
you get that going on. Hey, so, BioFan, where do you think this vault is?
So if you look at the environment, it's kind of, I mean, it's obvious, but it's also subtle in certain ways. The environment has a lot of kind of like natural rock looking stuff, like we're inside of some kind of big giant cave, deep roads kind of thing. There are two possibilities. Either we're underground on a planet, or we could be inside of an asteroid. Because if you were going to hide some really important stuff, would you hide it on a planet that people can just totally find, or some random asteroid all secret and stuff?
I
Think
As long
about
as the
it.
asteroid don't hit
I
anything.
expect you'll be able to find stuff on both because there are multiple
Yeah,
vaults.
baby.
And it also brings you back to the announced trailer when all this crazy green stuff pops out of the ground,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
which probably is a vault location activating, like the door coming up. And then you're battling aliens to get inside the door.
So it probably is underground, wherever it is.
I mean, they did say that what we were shown, that there is a lot taken out
Yeah, they specifically said there was a lot taken out and stitched in.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
And they don't typically... they don't tell you... They don't actually specifically say that too often, so I'm thinking that scene that we saw will not play out like that much at
Probably
all.
not, yeah.
Because they don't usually tell you that, so I'm thinking it was very stitched together. It was very just there to look cool, show off a few things. Like that Asari may be in a totally different scene, in a totally different place, and those two characters may not be in that scene with you there like that. I don't know.
And it's probably early in the game as well, so they might have cut out a lot to avoid spoilers.
Like if they're discovering a map, it's probably early.
A thing about the tech demo, though, that... Because, there were complaints online because that's the internet and people can't be happy. But something I'm very surprised that no one was angry about, but they did say was taken out because of the tech demo was dialogue choice. There was no dialogue choice in the entire tech demo, and throughout a bunch of complaints, not a single person complained that there was no dialogue choice with that stuff. It was just a straight cutscene.
I got a lot of
I got
complaints,
that.
actually.
I got that in my video.
Yeah.
Did you? I was not able to see any of that on Reddit, or although I was only checking new, I wasn't checking the major thread, and I didn't see any in my comments.
It's such a thing that's so Mass Effect that I'm like not even worried about them not having
It's gonna be there.
Yeah, like it's in there. It's never not been in a BioWare game.
It didn't cross my mind at all that would be a thing.
0% concerned here.
I know, but it's still kind of surprising that people are like, "Oh, they didn't show the dialogue."
Because they're not
system,"
ready.
or something like
They'll show that separately when they're ready to show it. That's why. And people need to recognise that and not just assume that just because you don't see it, it doesn't exist. That's not the case. It's a tech demo. They were specifically showing off the environment and they wanted you to see the faces and they wanted you to see how pretty it was because 4K. And so, the rest wasn't important for this particular reveal, and that's simply it. It's there's no big conspiracy, so you can all take your tinfoil hats off. It's fine, don't worry.
But what if I like my tinfoil hat?
The other thing, and I know that BioFan and I pointed this out in our things, is that original N7 day. I say original at N7 day 14. Those concept arts with the weird angles and stuff.
Yeah, that
confirmed.
That's the vaults
as remnant. That's vault stuff.
That one concept art that used to be Mac Walter's Twitter header thing of that door is probably the vault door.
Also a vault door. Looked exactly the same.
There is some asteroid concept art and footage from last year's E3 trailer, so maybe asteroid vaults are a thing too.
There's a lot of weird floating rocks in that concept art, which might have something to do with bizarre remnant harnessed technology, energy.
The gravity's really weird out there. But they did look like they were attached to something, didn't they? The rocks seemed to be attached to some sort of pole sticking out of the ground and stuff like that, so who knows? They're obviously there for a reason. What that reason is, who knows?
And there's something that I want to bring up that I've talked about before in general, and something like that's kind of bothering me about the Mass Effect universe, and I know that BioFan's going to enjoy this. In the gameplay, and I noticed this because of BioFan's video, the CO2 or the O2 tank, the oxygen tank, but in the cutscene, they aren't wearing anything to let them breathe. How the f*** are they breathing?
That wasn't O2. That was G2. I'm pretty sure that was a G.
O2.
I'm pretty sure it's a G.
That's an O. If you look at the previous trailer, it looks more like an O. If you look at the font,
I will battle you with finding.
I will battle you too. So
how are they breathing?
Me and Minius showed out. So if you look at the Andromeda font,
it's not O2.
Most of the letters have little bits cut out of them.
I refuse to believe you.
All the letters have little bits cut out of them. So it makes sense for the zero to have that little bit cut out of it. O2 is oxygen. That makes sense if you're in a place that doesn't have oxygen.
Why would
However,
you need
this
it on your
environment
suit?
does have oxygen. There's plants.
Why would you need it labeled?
The remnants.
You wouldn't need it labeled. That's stupid.
Well, no. You want that labeled.
But it doesn't.
You want that labeled.
Where's the labeling in the original games? There's never labeled in the original games.
You label everything in chemistry. So.
It's not chemistry. It's science fiction.
In the cutscene, they're not wearing helmets. How are they breathing?
Maybe they took the... Listen, right? There is an option in these types of games to remove helmet. Maybe they picked that in...
Not in all environments, though.
Oh, yeah, let me just remove my helmet in an area that doesn't have breathable oxygen.
No, they're still there. They're just invisible for the sake of you seeing their faces in the cutscenes because hide helmet, maybe.
AbilityDrain. There's parts of the Mass Effect trilogy where you can't where you have to wear a helmet even in cutscenes. Like when we go on the Geth ship, they don't need oxygen, but the helmet option you can still use for cutscenes or not. Like the helmet used in this demo is purely optional. So
I'm looking at the 4K images that they sent out on the website. I'm convinced that's a G.
I don't care.
Then what would G stand for?
I'm sorry.
Why would you have a backpack thing with a G2 on it?
Oh my god, send me the link. Let me have a look.
Why would you have a backpack?
Why would you have a G2? Why do you have
strapped to you?
an N7? Why do you have an AI? What does it mean? It doesn't have to mean oxygen.
Because that's their organization. The O2 isn't like an organization symbol. Though.
Guess what? We're gonna have our first bet. When this goes on, when we finally figure out what that is, if it happens, whoever is correct, O2 or G2, gets a little crown above their icon for the next show once it's thing. How about that?
You're on.
I was going to have another more bets
It's
going on.
on like Donkey Kong.
So we're going to write this down because we're going to remember it. But I'm convinced that's a G2. You also get AI on a lot of the different stuff, and I believe the color scheme of white is more along the lines of everybody's suited for the Andromeda Initiative or AI or something,
yeah.
which is what we all point out.
Yeah, I think it's probably Andromeda Initiative.
But I'm convinced that's a G.
Oh, that's a G. That's a G.
I'm tweeting people. We will figure this out.
What if it's a Q?
If it's a Q, then you get the crown. But it could be anything. It's definitely a G, and that 4K image I think is the best evidence of that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
then
G.
still, they don't have their helmets on. How are they breathing? Especially that's an alien world. Why would they not have helmets on?
Because it's oxygenated.
There's plants, and the remnants are breathing the oxygen from the plants.
Yeah, you're going to have to get over the oxygen thing, man. So if you're thinking reality, like how many plants are going to have breathable oxygen on it? Not many. In a science fiction world where you need to travel to a bunch of different worlds, how many plants are going to have oxygen on them? A lot.
As many as you need.
Listen, I watched Prometheus, and that f***ing cave thing they were in, they could breathe oxygen in there. So, just suspend your belief, or your disbelief, sorry. And
There's a lot wrong with Prometheus. So
yeah,
don't,
I wasn't keen on it, to be
that.
honest, but that's a separate thing.
So someone tweeted at Aaron Flynn and asked him if how many aliens can you bang, and Aaron said so many.
And I'm going to bang so many.
And
My
then
space baby.
Michael Gamble came in and said almost too many. So romance options for days,
I'm all good with
apparently,
that.
is what's going down.
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
Yo, Kelly, what's up?
So normally we want to get into a lot of questions, but we've been talking for a while, so we're going to get to at least just one. And then as we go forward, we will be talking about Mass Effect for many, many, many more weeks, so we'll get to all your questions.
Yeah, in fact, letting everyone know, I would love to have a question-only podcast because we got a lot of questions, especially because for the month of September, a chance to win Mass Effect Andromeda is by sending us a question and us discussing about it, and then we will pick what our favorite question was, and that person will win.
How about this? The show that comes out on September 29th will be all questions. We'll have a question battle royale.
All right, this person is LUIS space COCOM. This person, if you're listening,
Cocoam?
this is your question. Sure, let's go with that.
Comb?
Anyways, this person asks, how will the Andromeda explorers be able to communicate with the new alien races when there shouldn't be any sort of knowledge on language readily available?
Didn't we get this one already?
Not really. It's
Nope.
not with Andromeda because in the Milky Way, they just go.
There was the translation trip.
Everyone's speaking English, but there's translator software going on.
Yannick Roy specifically said on Twitter that this would be explained.
When did he say that?
He said it like a long time ago.
Huh, I must have missed that.
I mean, something that I'm wondering is on that button that Ryder interacts with, it shows a bunch of alien language. Do you think that we might scan alien language and be able to figure stuff out that way? Kind of like what we did with Egyptians and hieroglyphs.
That would be neat if you have to learn languages to talk to people.
Yeah, like if the better you scan, the better you can understand. That can open up other dialogue choices.
I mean, one of my favorite games the last 10 years is Metal Gear Solid 5. and you have to like snatch a translator if you want to talk to people. And you could have some kind of language mechanic that would work great. You need to acquire a dictionary, or maybe certain of those remnant vaults will have language databases in them.
Yeah, and you have to scan
that you can
them.
download maybe to your translator or something.
It'd be cool if that was a thing. I mean, obviously this game is getting very, very full, so you can't do everything. I know you want to, but you can't do everything. And
well, yeah, I know, but I see the question though, I think it'd be really cool because you could walk into and see a wall filled with the language, and you have to scan it. And now because you scanned it, more dialogue choices are available because...
That would be cool.
you know languages, yeah. Anyway, so next week we'll be getting into more questions, but thanks. When something pops up like this, we're going to be talking about it significantly. And I think this was anyone really expecting ahead of time for something to be at the Sony conference? And I'm not talking about the Tuesday before the Wednesday when it became very apparent with developer tweets and such that, hey, something's going on.
Oh, I mean, we knew for all the developers, we knew something
Yeah,
was
but
going
a
on.
week before the developer tweets, you say, that, I knew there was a Sony conference going. I was going to watch it. I was convinced there would be nothing Mass Effect related at that.
I figured if there was, it would just be like, oh, we're remastering the previous Mass Effect trilogy, or they might talk about the new IP or something, but I wasn't expecting there to be anything else from Mass Effect Andromeda until N7 Day. So that was a pleasant surprise.
It's the Sony connection threw me off.
I was honestly expecting more of a like Mass Effect remaster than like, especially because they were announcing a new console. So it was like, oh, they're going to show like
Backwards compatibility and stuff, yeah.
you know, this is what the game used to look like. This is what it's going to look like
Yeah.
now.
It was a weird spot, but in hindsight, when you look at it, that was the only new game there that hadn't been really
been
shown
out,
in
yeah.
detail.
There was Watch Dogs too,
Yeah, but that's been shown before,
and For Honor.
which also has gotten some stuff shown before. There's gameplay for For Honor. As far as reveals go, Andromeda stole the stage, which is why they've been delaying stuff, and you don't announce something at E3 with other things, you find a spot. So they found a spot. And the best part about this conference, and I maintain this, is that at no point in any time during the conference they said, this is exclusive. Anything exclusive. No exclusive skins. So I think that's fantastic news. So,
But something I am wondering is, because it was shown at the PlayStation thing, is PlayStation having some sort of thing with BioWare, like maybe an exclusive DLC or something like that, like maybe a mission?
I think they would have announced it.
Yeah, with Jaws of Hackon, it was Xbox got it a month earlier with Jaws of Hackon.
What I'm hoping for and what it looks like at this point is sort of a co-marketing campaign where it's exactly what happened, where Sony uses Mass Effect to promote themselves and Mass Effect uses Sony to promote themselves. So when they have ads and stuff like on commercials and they'll show a Mass Effect trailer at the end, then the little PlayStation logo will pop up. But as far as exclusives and stuff are concerned, it's equal in all platforms, which is the best case scenario.
At one E3 at the Microsoft conference, got to debut an Inquisition trailer. So maybe.
Yeah, but the 1 month DLC thing isn't too bad, but I'd really love everybody to be able to play things at the same time.
It pissed a lot of people off.
Just period,
It did.
so we can have a conversation. Later, future episode of Andromenerds, DLC comes out, half the people can't play it. That would suck.
Well, I mean, it's EA that picks all those kind of deals anyway, so it's not directly related to BioWare. It's whatever EA choose to go with.
Well, EA is better with Xbox, but it's also of how focused single player is. Like, I know that Call of Duty, one console gets the DLC before the other, but that's just a map pack. That doesn't matter much. While if it's say Lair the Shadow Broker came out on Xbox a month before it came out on PlayStation, that would be a huge thing.
Yeah, like with Inquisition with Jaws of Hackon, it was a huge thing. People were really not happy about it.
Or worst case scenario, you get something like Destiny, where you're talking years, like a year between stuff.
Yeah.
We will get into this further, but I think that was one of the coolest things from the conferences. At no point did they say exclusive at all. And if you've watched these conferences regularly, there's exclusive tossed out everywhere. Even things that are barely exclusive at all. They're like, ooh, this toenail color is exclusive to PlayStation. You didn't get any of that. So that's good stuff.
This hairstyle in Mass Effect Andromeda is only exclusive to PlayStation.
Judging from what we've seen of hairstyles in the past, I don't think that would provide much incentive.
The hairstyle's in the shape of the Sony logo. You have like a buzz cut on the sides, like Sony.
I was thinking like a female hair with the full-on 3D, like poofed up in the air, like the old 70s hairstyles.
It's like an Afro Sony.
It's like an Afro Sony, or like really gelled and looped around.
Just imagining him like hiding behind cover with a big like Sony thing just popped up above. It's because of our earlier conversation, we were talking about like making the brother look one way and the sister the other. You have your brother as a companion, you have him off in the distance, like up on top of a building, like providing sniper fire, so you just see a little Sony logo up there and pop his head out. I want that now.
That's all the nerdiness we've got for today. Special thanks to AbilityDrain for joining us.
You're totally welcome.
Coming up in a few days is the episode we recorded last week. Unfortunately, that's still mostly relevant because that was one of my favorite episodes we've ever recorded. If you have any questions for us, Mass Effect related or otherwise, feel free to email us at andromenerds@gmail.com, and your questions may be featured in an upcoming episode. Along with our co-hosts, be sure to follow Andromenerds on Twitter. If you like this podcast and would like to see some more awesome videos, be sure to check out and subscribe to our respective channels. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Woo! I think that's the closest we've ever gotten it.
That's pretty solid, yeah. All right.
Nice.
I almost want to put that at the end of the show now.
Just us clapping.